In this video, I'm going to talk about the cheat code that online business owners are using to scale their business, spend less time working in the business, and to get a better experience for their clients. So what's the cheat code? It is AI employees. So maybe you've kind of heard this term floating around. You've probably been trying to find out how to use AI in your business for a long time. But I'm telling you that this is the paradigm shift that is allowing people to get really good results. AI employees. So the first concept I want to give you guys is the difference between an AI employee and an AI worker. So let's take, for example, content. Let's say you have a division of your business, content, and you have a head of content. Well, what you want to do is you want to create a distinction between the head of content and the actual employees that are doing low-level tasks. So I would say that an AI employee is the person that is the head of content, for example. But the AI worker is the person who is creating thumbnails. So an AI worker, you can think of it very simply as a machine, a little black box that receives inputs and then gives you an output. So what you can do is you can have an AI worker that creates thumbnails. And what would the inputs be? Maybe the input is title of the video, right? That could be one input. Another input could be a picture of yourself, right? And you feed these two things into the machine, and on the other side, you get a completed thumbnail. So that would be a task for an AI worker. On the other hand, an AI employee is more of like an actual person. So what do you do with people? You talk to them. If they're employees, you give them tasks. They give you ideas. You give them feedback. So it's much more conversational, right? So with this, the inputs are speech. And that could be either through text, like writing a message, or it can be you actually getting on the phone with your AI employee, right? And then the output of the AI employee is that he actually uses the AI worker. So think of AI workers more as clearly defined skills, and then AI employees as things that are mimicking humans and that have these AI-powered abilities, these skills. So that's the first thing you have to understand. You have to make this distinction between what is the AI employee that you speak to and what are the capabilities that it has. All right, so the next concept is that you do not want to use N8N. You want to use something called computer use. Now, if you're watching this video, you're probably familiar with a software called N8N. And this is like the most popular automation tool that exists right now. And pretty much any video on YouTube you watch will tell you, use N8N, here's how to set up this automation, blah, blah, blah. N8N is really good for connecting different tools together that have APIs. So for example, I can connect the OpenAI API, ChatGPT, to my email, and I can make it write emails. I can set up automations that use ChatGPT to compose an email and then send it through my Gmail. That's what N8N is really good for. But the problem is that a lot of tasks that exist in the business cannot be done with an API, because an API is something that a company has to make publicly available. I'll give you an example. YouTube has an API, right? So that means that you can create an automation that uploads your videos automatically. But here's the problem. That API doesn't give you full access to all the features of YouTube, because the development team at YouTube hasn't made everything available. They choose what's available in the API. So that means a feature like thumbnail testing, that feature where you can upload 3 different thumbnails and YouTube will test all of them and see which one performs best. You can't do that through the API. That has to be done manually. Somebody has to upload the video and then upload each thumbnail and start the test like that. So you can't do it with N8N. But if you use this tool called computer use, what this does is it simulates a real computer and it has the AI use that computer. So anything that can be done on a web page or on your desktop, on your computer, can be simulated with this AI tool. It's called computer use. Very few people are talking about this, and it's an absolute game changer. So if you can implement this, if you can have your AI employees using a computer, a simulated computer, and do things in your business, then you will actually get really good results. All right, now I'm gonna talk about some examples. An example I've been using so far is your content department. So you wanna have your head of content, and this will be an AI employee. And then you can have things like a script writer. You can have a thumbnail designer. You can have a content manager, an uploader. And the key distinction here is that these 3 over here, these are gonna be done with AI workers. So they're very simple. They just receive inputs and they give you outputs. Whereas the head of content, this is where you're gonna use a language model and you're gonna actually speak to your head of content, and it will then delegate tasks to the workers. I'll give you another example. Let's say marketing. So you're gonna have your head of marketing, which will be your AI employee, and then it will use a worker like a ad generator. So your input to your ad generator could be a description of your ICP, maybe some pain points, and the output would be a complete image ad or video ad. Another example would be then the campaign manager. So this is where you would use the computer use tool that I mentioned before. Because when you're setting up a Facebook ad campaign, there's a whole lot of buttons on that dashboard, right? And doing that all through API calls would be a nightmare. Instead, what you want is you want a machine that is simulating a computer, clicking all the buttons and actually creating your campaign that way. So that's where you use that tool called computer use. And then again, you have your head of marketing AI that you actually speak to that delegates these tasks, that actually initiates these worker nodes. Okay, one last example. You can have your sales director, and one of the worker nodes can be an SDR. So the SDR can do things like make phone calls, send emails, qualify leads. All these things are very simple tasks that the sales director AI will coordinate and do for you. All right, guys, so this is the idea. You want to have your AI employees controlling AI worker nodes. And the workers are very simple because they receive inputs and outputs. Whereas your department heads, these are the ones where you actually speak to the AI, you give it feedback, it writes documents for you, summarizing what it's done, and it operates on a schedule. So all of these department heads, you can have them, for example, send you a memo on a certain day of the week. You can have marketing send you a memo on Monday, sales on Wednesday, content on Friday, and it will tell you a summary of all the actions it did, all the skills it used, like the thumbnail designer, the script writer, or the ad generator, the campaign manager, all of these things. So this is the structure you want to have. You want to have your AI employees and your AI workers. Hopefully you guys found this video useful. If you want to learn more about how to set this up, check out my video on implementing AI voice agents in your sales funnel.